I know that Texans defensive end Will Anderson is the defensive player of the week. 3 sacks, another tackle for a loss, deflected a pass that got intercepted. I mean, there's a lot to celebrate, right? Texans swarm. Wrong. Sean, guess what? Once again, it's Wednesday, and you know what Wednesday means going forward for this Houston Texans team that's 5-1 for the first time since 2012? They're actually 0-0 once again. We're turning the page. We're on to Green Bay.
Okay.
We're not actually going to go to Green Bay.
God, no.
That would be terrible. I actually did an episode of this once on my live stream detailing the many things that you can do in Green Bay. We'll probably bring it back to the show Thursday or Friday. You don't want to go to Green Bay, but just know you're 0-0 going up against Green Bay. I thought to myself, let's take a look at the rest of the Texans schedule. Where does this Packers game rank as far as tough games the rest of the way? Tough games the entirety of this year, because a couple of games already in the books. So, honorable mention, not quite making the cut because none of us took them that seriously going into that game. We maybe thought that the Vikings would be able to cover the spread, but I don't think any of us thought that the Vikings were going to beat the Texans like that. The way that they did, 34-7. Honorable mention, that game now looks like it was a tough game. It's aged very well, as have all of your games against the NFC North. That win over the Bears looks like a great one now. Packers are a last place team this coming Sunday. Bears, not in last place, 4-2. They've won 3 of 4 since playing against the Texans, but the Vikings is an honorable mention. It's just outside the toughest games the Texans will play this year. Number 5, what you just saw a little over a week ago against the Buffalo Bills. The 23-20 win at the gun, Kaimi Fairbairn from 59. Game blouses. That's the 5th toughest game the Texans will play all year. And it's the 5th toughest because of Josh Allen. The Bills are definitely a different team now that they've traded for Amari Cooper. Maybe this would rise in the rankings, toughest games for the Texans in 2024. Number 4, it is Sunday in Green Bay. The Packers seem to be figuring things out with Jordan Love now healthy under center. I have a lot of respect for what Matt LaFleur has done as head coach of the Packers. I think it's ridiculous that Aaron Rodgers thought that situation was such a crappy one. I don't know what he thought he was getting into by leaving that operation, which for the last 3 decades has probably been the most consistent organization in this sport. Helps to have 3 good quarterbacks in a row, but leaving that one for the one that's been the model of what not to do as a franchise, the New York Jets, thinking it would be better. I don't get it. But this is a good team, and I think they can do some things against the Texans defense specifically that the Texans maybe don't have answers for. Number 3, it's the Lions game, Sunday Night Football on November 10th. Part of this is just because of the Lions' history. I feel like that's always going to be carried around with them until they win a Super Bowl. And I mean, yeah, they did have a 24-7 lead on the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game, but they blew it. Still, last 2 weeks, 40-plus points for the first time since the 1960s. Their offense looks terrifying. Their defense, though, is definitely something that you can score points against, especially if Aiden Hutchinson's going to be out. The second toughest game for the Texans the rest of the way, at the Kansas City Chiefs, Saturday, December 21st. Yeah, they're the 2-time defending Super Bowl champs, but the reason that's not the toughest game left on the slate is because you have 6 days to prepare for that one. 6. That's a lot. That helps. And the toughest game of the year is going to be Christmas Day on Netflix on a Wednesday against the Baltimore Ravens. It's the 3rd game in 10 days. It is after a 6-week rest to play the Chiefs, 4 days to get ready for the Ravens. So that's the toughest game the rest of the way. But this Packers game is a tough one. And I feel like we're all looking at it that way because the Texans are now 0-0. Reset it, baby. Today can be the greatest day of your life. Just know that you're starting at 0-0. You don't come into it winning. Every single day is a new day. Every single week's a new week. This is the National Football League.
In the words of J.J. Watt, success isn't owned, it's leased. Ooh. And rent is due every day.
Man, I want you to play some Fort Minor in the background right now. That's 10% cliches and 20% being a cornball, 50% having a rustic cabin, 30%. That would be the remaining percentage, right? No?
I don't think it actually adds up.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I want to flip a tire right now.
Game.
I want to, do you know what? I want to blow out my back flipping the tire right now. I'd do it. I suppose that term doesn't really sound great when it comes out of your mouth.
You want to blow your back out. I got it.
Can be interpreted in a variety of different ways. Some of the Twitchers know 713-780-3776 to call, to text. You can join us on YouTube at ESPN Houston or on Twitch at ESPN 975. You can also tweet us at Gallant Says, at Sean A. Mapes. So this is one of the tougher games left this year, but I feel like given where the Texans are right now at 5-1, with really the rest of the way 4 tough games, the Packers, the easiest of your tough games left, the Lions, Chiefs, and Ravens, you're not going any worse than 11-6 this year. The start helps, but the rest of the schedule, I mean, it's getting better by the day, isn't it? You do have the Colts fairly soon. We'll see if Anthony Richardson is back for them. I don't know if they're better with Flacco or Richardson, though. So I guess that game's a toss-up. Halloween against the Jets, I guess, is a toss-up. On the road against the Cowboys, Monday Night Football, that's a toss-up. But then, I mean, you're playing the Titans twice. You play the Jaguars again. You play the Dolphins coming off of a bye week. You're going at least 11-6 right now. You don't have many tough games left. You'll probably lose a couple of those toss-ups, maybe 1, maybe 2. And you might lose most of those tough games that you play the rest of the way. But right now, anything less than 11-6, unacceptable, even though the Texans are currently 0-0. And it does seem like it would be hard for the Texans to get to 11-6 with 6 weeks into the year being 0-0. But hey, they got to figure it out.